defending by Wakefield. One of the, I think it was Milner's try.
Right.
Was an absolute embarrassment of a defensive effort in front of their own sticks, where he ended up putting the ball down between the sticks, I think. But it was just like how you can bear the season ahead as a Wakefield fan when stuff like that's happening. I wonder. I hope they can sort it out. I really do. Did you see any of it?
No, just the tries on YouTube. And again, I tend to agree with you. Wakefield looked terribly poorly organised. The only thing I'd say is last season they won the first 2 games and then lost a load on the trot. Maybe they'll lose their first 2 games and win a load on the trot this time round. But they look like they could already be in pretty serious trouble, couldn't they?
Well, that's in France. Scoreboard dominance can be shown in the stats dominance too, and that, in fact, that maybe could have seen even more points scored for the victors in this one, as well as the Hull FC game. Over 500 more metres and 10-1 in clean breaks. Wakefield have got the fewest breaks in Super League so far.
So that says to me, as much as they're defending poorly as well, they're not creating much.
No, although the home side were on the wrong end of the error numbers, 14-12, the penalty count was well in their favour, at 6 conceded by Cass but 12 by Wakefield. Also worth pointing out was the 1.7 metres per carry average gain advantage that the Castleford Tigers enjoyed. All of that sort of suggests they should have scored more tries. Individually, Denny Solomona, 2 tries, 146 metres, 4 clean breaks. He's your bet for top try scorer. Oliver Holmes celebrated his new deal with 2 tries and 109 metres. Luke Dawn with a try, 3 try assists, 101 metres and 2 clean breaks was really influential. Andy Lynch with 115 metres also celebrated his new deal. And like we said, Milner grabbed a try in there as well. For Wakefield, Anthony England with 48 tackles, 10 of which were marker tackles, putting a strong effort in a losing display, and Reece Lynn was their biggest metre gainer with 103 metres.
Literally started to choke as it became my turn to speak. Bri Davies got in touch. He's a Wakefield fan. This is hard to believe, but this Wakefield side is worse than last year's crap. Brian Smith is either taking the piss or he's a hell of a coach if he thinks this shower of shite he's bought can make the grade in Super League. Be surprised if we win a single game in Super League this season. If Cass didn't throw so many forward passes, they'd have scored 100 points. It's dark days already for Wakefield. Clubfoot 25 got in touch. Good ball handling from Cass after the first 10 minutes or so, and very poor defending from Wakefield sums it up. Luke Dunn, very, very good with second place, and Junior Moores was awesome. Still a lot more to come from Cass though. We need better game management when taking pressure. Ollie Smith got in touch, listened to the Cass game on the radio, and it sounded like we were fairly clinical, and Doran Roberts were too much for the Wakefield defence. Hashtag when you're forward, hashtag Sweet Caroline. Spamela 68, nice one, got in touch. Great game. Luke Gale stepped up and was fantastic as a captain. Holmes and Solomona, fantastic tries. Referee Charles was very inconsistent on the whole. A great first home game. Watch the silly plays but keep up the great teamwork. And perhaps the last word should go to young Tyler, Cass fan, allowed on the computer by his mum and dad to type solid display from Cass without hitting top form. Had far too much for Wakefield after their early try. Solid display from Gale as standing captain, but we'll give man of the match to Ollie Holmes, who has started the season very well. Another side who started the season very well are Warrington Wolves, Mark. They backed up last week's win against the champions with a 38 points to 8 mauling of Hull KR, who look to be in just about as much trouble as Wakefield in some regards in terms of their performances.
Yeah, in the best attended game of the round, and it was Lizzie Jones sang before. There was work towards a new charity with the defibrillators and all that.
Yep.
And it was family day, I think, there. They had some stuff going on, so all good stuff being pulled out by the Wolves for their first home game of the season. Warrington were good, but the numbers show how ineffective Hull KR were, really. Mm-hmm. They only made 754 metres, which is a low amount historically, not just for this season so far. 13 errors and 12 penalties. Warrington, on the other hand, had 1,388 metres and 12 clean breaks. That led to only 6 tries. So another one where you'd even think they didn't attack with as much precision and execution as they might have, and actually the win could have been even bigger. 10% was the difference in the tackle success rate between the two sides. Warrington holding the high bar of that across the league so far after 2 games, but Hull KR with 86% tackle success shows that they haven't learnt from their main problem last year, which was holding on to players. Mm-hmm. I don't think we have much from, if anything at all, actually, from Hull KR fans. But when I saw them on the Twitterverse, a lot of them were moaning about officials, and there were a couple of questionable line-up tries, whether he was out or in. To be honest, you lost by 30 points, and more to the point, you gave away that Darrell Clark try, Hull KR fans. If anyone's seen that Darrell Clark try, no one even thought to actually make a proper tackle.
It did make him look like the Darrell Clark of old as well.
Yeah,
which takes some doing these days.
It really did, and in this game, it was a throwback to get the 2014 Darrell Clark.
Yeah.
So more of that to come from a Four Nations looking forward perspective. But Hull KR really, they can blame a few maybe forward passes or stepping out or whatever controversial decisions that were given, but really, they can't tackle. You can't tackle, you're going to lose games in Super League.
Yeah, that's it. Stands up to everything. Okay.
Individually, Tom Lynham with 3 tries, 10 tackle busts, 168 metres, 3 clean breaks. Darrell Clark, 1 try, 11 tackle busts. See, these amount of tackle busts shows how the tackling was. 139 metres and 3 clean breaks. Matty Russell, 1 try assist, 10 tackle busts, 167 metres, and we'll throw Chris Hill in there with 150 metres, one of our faves.
Absolutely. Anybody stand out for Hull KR?
Ken Seo got 122 metres. He was the only one to make our round up.
Okay, so we got some contact from some Wolves fans and also from John Cassidy as well. Tom Atkin 99, he said that Sandow and Gidley outstanding today with some great tries scored. It's amazing when half-backs are not a problem. Elliot Wrench got in touch with us. Lizzie Jones started things off with 2 songs sung fantastically. Dip into those pockets and help with her defibrillator cause. Into the game, and my mate Sandow kicks a 40-20. He's looking like a player now. Intelligence and skill. Curry went over for a converted try from that. Good start. There was a period of dominance, if that's the right word, with a few chances struck off, but Westerman's try doubled the score. Gidley had a rush of blood and was sin-binned for getting in too quickly right near the end of the first half. 12-0 at that point. Lynham produced the first score of the second half with a superb reach for the line. My pal Sandow, now rubbish, missed the kick, haha. Firmly got 4 back for Hull KR, and their persistence to stay in paid off, although the kick was missed. Not their best skill today. Lynham got a few more tries with Kieran Dixon in between. Darrell Clark got a deserved try too, well worked. Gidley was kicking for fun today. Overall, from my wire stance, great. A few things needed, concentration here and there, but I expect much more from Hull KR. They looked out of ideas. Samantha Rowlett got in touch. She said it was a good performance in patches from Wire, strong up front and well marshalled by Gidley apart from his brain fart sin-binning. The Flying Pig took his hat-trick on that, showing he will go close for top try scorer in Super League this year. And then friend of the show, John Cassidy, got in touch.
Yeah, with a neutral perspective, because he's a Wigan fan, so it's an interesting one to add in, I think.
I think so too. He said it was a pretty close game until the last 10 minutes, but lacking any great quality. Hull KR were extremely dumb in the first half, giving away countless penalties in midfield, giving Wire position to attack. Warrington should have been much further ahead at half time. Some poor execution from Wire, especially our mate Jack Hughes spurned 2 chances. Hull had a few chances near the Wire line in the first half, but were ridiculously disjointed and gave away several forward passes when they had opportunities. Second half was pretty much all Wire except 2 very clinical chances taken by KR. Wire cut loose at the end when KR interest had gone and the energy had gone too. Hill was very good as usual and Sandow looked sharp. Lynham took his chances well also. Can't say any of the KR players stood out at all really. Looks like KR have a few injuries, but can see them struggling on this showing unless they improve as the season goes on. So the final game of the weekend, Sunday afternoon. Perhaps this is the biggest shock of them all.
Everyone else is wrong with the headliner. We're leaving it to last.
I know we've properly buried the lead on this. Widnes 50. Well, we do it chronologically, don't we? Widnes 56 leads Rhinos 12. A result that leaves Leeds bottom of the pile for the first time in a long time, and an astounding performance from a Widnes side that most people would have picked to lose this one, Mark.
Yeah, and they really blew Leeds' doors off. I mean, there was 3 injuries for Leeds, but I think the score was 20 points or something, at 22-0 or something by that point. Witnessed all the players across the board ran wild, really. There was, from the highlights, it seems like there was so much space on the eye pitch. It was really strange to see. I mean, a few bounces of the ball went Widnes' way, but you make your own luck in this world, people say, and they certainly did that. They just played the ball phenomenally and just got over the line. Well done to Widnes. It was a massive Massive shock. The 10-2 try stat tells us as much as we need to know. Really, that was something special from Widnes. But on top of that, they were actually guilty of 13 errors and 11 penalties to Leeds' 18 errors and 7 penalties. So they only had 12 more total carries in the game, but they were able to do a lot more with that ball, with 12 breaks to 5, 300 more running metres, 1.4 metres per carry more. They also had a high missed tackle number, did Leeds, from the back row in particular. And so that was something that was telling. I mean, there was 36 missed tackles in total, 13 coming from the back rowers that appeared for Leeds. So that wasn't great from their perspective. Individually, Corey Thompson on his home debut had 3 tries on the wing. Stephen Marsh on the other wing grabbed 2 tries. Lloyd White, his try was a really well worked try actually. If you watch the highlights, it was a good try. 1 try assist, 128 metres and 3 clean breaks. Setamata Sarr
mugging us right off his fucking Setamata Sarr.
I think if anything we've lit the fire up his arse and we've really turned his career around.
Hashtag clearly a listener.
I think if it wasn't for our stats breakdown at the end of last season, he would not have had the season he's having. We should take a lot of credit, and I'm hoping that Dennis Betts is bound to phone us at some point to thank us. Not that we'll understand a word the Cookie Monster says.
No, tricky one, isn't it?
But anyway, Setamata Sarr, 1 try assist, 118 metres and 2 clean breaks.
It is a little disconcerting to see Dennis Betts smile, isn't it? It's kind of like when a dog bears its, like, is that dog smiling at me or is it angry? What's it? It's just a little bit, yeah.
There were actually a number of Leeds players that made our stats roundup, which is surprising considering they were so roundly beaten. But Rob Burrow with his try on 107 metres, a lot of that coming off the back of that try. Joe Moon did well to set up, but the game was dead at that point. Zach Hardacre, 8 tackle busts, not a lot coming from that though. Brett Ferris, 47 tackles, like I've already mentioned, he missed a fair few too. Mitch Garbutt with 123 metres, that's an unqualified performance there, because the other Leeds ones were asterisks next to him. The injured players, Tom Briscoe, Carl Ablett and Ashton Golding, all not expected to play in the World Club Challenge.
Ryan Hall grazed his head, if Twit's to be believed.
Ryan Hall also dropped the ball about 6 times.
It's not a great way to prepare, is it? And I got a sense before I've read these out that this will be a theme within the feedback. Bob Phillips got in touch with us. This was quite possibly the worst Leeds performance since London were in the Super League, and it's the World Club Challenge next week. Have I said before how much of a fan of the North Queensland Cowboys I am?
But that worst performance he's talking about against the Broncos was the week before a Challenge Cup final, which they won. So,
you never know. One eye on the prize. Bruiser was slightly more succinct. He got in touch and said, fuck, that's not a good result. I feel less confident about next weekend now. Straight to the point, like his style. Colin Wendeck got in touch. He said, well done to Widnes, capitalising on a poor performance from Leeds. It's never easy when you lose 3 players in the first half, but Leeds weren't that good before that. Hard to tell, but wonder if Leeds eased off once they knew they couldn't win to protect themselves in preparation for next week, especially after losing those 3 players. Mark Stevo72 got in touch and said that it was a brutal wake-up call for the Rhinos. Paul Ludo Lewis, who's a Widnes fan, said without a doubt the best Widnes performance since their return to Super League. I hope that the review doesn't just focus on Leeds' injuries, which we certainly haven't done, because every single Widnes player was amazing. It still hasn't sunk in that we stuck 56 points on Leeds. Best Valentine's Day ever. I'm sure Mrs. Ludo agrees. Paul O'Brien, who's also a Widnes fan, got in touch. There was a great performance today by the Vikings. To score 10 tries against last year's treble winners was not expected. The Vikings' defence has improved immensely on today's performance. To withstand 4 sets of 6 on your own line midway through the first half show the improvement in defence. All 17 played well today. And Rod Hutchinson, the Lakes Rhino, got in touch and said, I thought that last season was bad, thought Saints were embarrassing. Thursday, wait to see this. I can hear Thurston laughing.
I think he must mean last season losing at Widnes rather than the season overall.
Yeah, last season was pretty good. I was about to question. Yeah, I think overall, Rod, you were probably okay.
Yeah.
So what was the tail of the round then, Mark?
Well, big score lines, as we've got to. There was a secondary storyline, but the main one is those big scores. Only one game wasn't a blowout. Whilst it's nice to get some upsets to shake things up, and we definitely got those, I think you'd want closer games overall, and only Huddersfield versus Wigan delivered on that, where both sides defended well and threw up a close game. The average points difference of 29 across the 6 games was bigger than any round in 2015, 27 being the highest in round 10 last year. So it's setting a new benchmark for blowouts.